Hi, I'm Meg Manganaro, a trainee solicitor at Boyce Turner. Today, I am joined by Kim Milan, our senior partner and head of personal injury. Kim was appointed as senior partner in 2021, having been with the firm for 22 years. I first met Kim almost 4 years ago now, across a table of my final interview to join the firm as a paralegal. Since then, she has continued to be a positive role model, not only for me, but many others. Described by Legal 500 as a force to be reckoned with, Kim specialises in catastrophic injury cases and acts for clients with acquired brain damage, spinal injuries, and serious orthopaedic injuries. She is often praised for her ability to guide clients through complex claims with sensitivity and understanding, whilst working hard to achieve the highest settlements and the greatest possible recovery. Kim takes pride in working alongside local charities to support her clients beyond the legal process and is a trustee of Headway Thames Valley. But don't let me tell you all of this when we have the woman here herself. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Hi, Meg. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Particularly listening to that lovely introduction. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. So I really want to speak to you today about your role as senior partner. But before we delve into all of that, I hoped to have a bit of an icebreaker and ask you a question which I've been wondering. I know you've had a very successful career, but if you could pick one highlight, what highlight would it be?
There are lots of things I can think of that I feel so lucky to have been involved in, particularly sort of client work and the sorts of clients I work for, and see how far they come from when I first meet them to the end of their journey with me, and the amazing sort of strides they've made. But aside from that, I think actually being appointed senior partner last year has to be up there with that, I think.
Could you explain to me what a senior partner is and the sort of responsibilities you have?
The senior partner really has a threefold role. It's to act as a support for our managing partner. He has a sort of operational day-to-day running of the firm, and it's really to act as a sounding board for him. I sit on our firm's management committee with the managing partner, with our head of business services and head of private client. And my role there is really to act as a liaison between the management committee and the rest of the partnership. There's also an external ambassadorial role representing the firm out in the local marketplace and beyond. But also, I think for me, I would add another one to that, which is really, I see myself as senior partner of the whole firm. So it's not just the partnership and it's not just the external sort of side of Boyce Turner, but really for all of the staff at Boyce Turner.
So that sounds like quite a lot to do. And we're just talking about the senior partner role you have, but I know you also are head of PI. So could you tell me a bit about what your typical day involves?
Well, I mean, there really is no typical day, which is actually one of the things that I really love, that I've always loved about being a lawyer, but also particularly now with the added role of the senior partners. So there are lots of different things that I get up to, and I feel very lucky that I'm able to do that. It is a bit of a juggling act, but as I said, I think that's what makes it interesting, and I think it's what makes it fun. So I could be doing obviously some client work on my files, and whether that's sort of sat at my desk or going out to meet clients. I go to a lot of charity events and support the charities that we support through work and that are very close to my heart. Or it could be sort of sitting down, talking to my partners. It could be representing the firm externally. So at Christmas, just before Christmas, I attended Pride of Reading, which was such an amazing experience, really humbling to see people in our local community and what they had been doing throughout the pandemic to help others.
Talk a bit about your path to becoming a senior partner. Was it something that you've always aimed for, or has it come a bit later in your career?
To be honest with you, becoming a lawyer was a big deal for me, particularly from the sort of background I come from. I'm the first person in my whole family to go to university and to really follow a professional career. So I think certainly in the early days, I was just concentrating on doing that. It's only really been in the last sort of few years when I became involved in our management committee and seeing that side of things, I started thinking about those sorts of roles. And when the opportunity came up, timing was right for me, really. You know, my team was running very well. I've got a very good, tight-knit team of personal injury lawyers. My children were almost grown up. My son was just at university. My daughter's doing her A-levels. So it meant that I had a bit more time to concentrate on me. Yeah, so it just seemed the time was right. And I wanted a new challenge. And I think I work better when I'm busy, and when I've got something interesting and stimulating to do, like many of us. So yeah, it all just kind of fell into place, really.
Going back to what you said about your upbringing, Kim, were there any challenges coming from that? Because I know myself that I have a similar background, and many people out there would be interested to know how you found things.
Yeah, I think I did face some challenges, but I recognize now that some of those I probably placed on myself. I was very conscious when I first started working, and probably whilst I was at university as well, that I came from a different background, and I was therefore quite sort of insecure about that and didn't really own it in the same way as I do now. So I think I would really encourage people to do that. We all have something to bring to the table from our different life experiences, and I think that's what makes certainly, diverse workplaces so great.
So, Kim, have you found that having that kind of background has helped in how you work?
Certainly, I think with my clients, they come to me at a really vulnerable time in their lives when they've suffered a catastrophic injury, and it's either them or their families. And it's an intimidating thing to come and see a solicitor. I think lots of people have this typical image of a solicitor. And I think, coming from the background I do, I'm not quite so scary. I think that does really help. I am able to identify with them a bit more, perhaps, and put them at ease.
In terms of the nitty gritty, was there anything that you needed to have under your belt at the time in terms of experience or qualifications in order to become a senior partner?
I love people, and I think that's the biggest attraction of the role for me. It's not necessarily technical experience. I think certainly becoming involved in management over the last few years has really helped me gain a wider knowledge of the firm as a whole, rather than just my own specialism and my own team. But I think you just have to love people. It's the people that I'm interested in, and that's what I think. You need to be interested in people. You need to like them, be genuinely curious about who they are, what makes them tick. Because I think unless you do understand how somebody ticks, you can't really help them properly.
What advice would you give to someone at the start of their career in law, or maybe even just someone considering a career in law?
I mean, I'd obviously say go for it. I've loved every minute of it. I would encourage people to do something they love and feel very passionate about, because I think that's what makes a good lawyer.
And in terms of becoming a senior partner, are there steps that someone could be taking maybe in the early stages of their career to go in that direction?
I think if you're generally curious about what you do, you're very passionate about it, that you are curious about the people around you, that's really it for me. I mean, I feel like I'm oversimplifying it, but I think we can all get a bit bogged down by, what we have to do, what training we need, what courses we need to go on.
And looking ahead to the future, what changes or impact are you planning to make in your role as senior partner?
I think what's really important for me is that we are working in a mutually supportive environment. The pandemic has really shown us that we can all work in a much more flexible way, and that is so important for so many people. That's what I really want to have an impact on, and make sure that it is a truly flexible hybrid environment. What I've learned over the years is that if you allow people to work in the way that suits them best, you actually get a lot more out of them. I worked part-time when my children were very young, and most of my team have young children and work part-time also. And we've always worked really well together. I don't expect them to be at their desk from 9 till 5. I appreciate that life just isn't as straightforward as that. Nevertheless, they've always got the job done. And that's all we can really ask of anybody.
Yeah, I think that's a great point of view. Just life happens, doesn't it? And I think the pandemic definitely opened our eyes to that a bit more.
Yeah.
So in terms of the firm, where do you see it going in, say, 5 years' time?
Onwards and upwards. I mean, where else?
Well, I agree, Kim. But well, thank you so much, Kim, for joining me today. It's been really interesting to hear more about how you've been finding things.
It's been my absolute pleasure, Meg. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode. For more information about Boyes Turner, go to our website, boyesturner.com. And remember to subscribe or follow us to get all our other podcast episodes. Bye.